Stop pretending you're sick. The manager barked, his voice slicing through the small pharmacy like a slap. Everyone turned. Aisle lights hummed overhead, and the air smelled of rubbing alcohol and cheap floral air freshener. In the middle of the scene stood Lena, a petite woman in her early 30s with dark circles beneath her warm brown eyes. Her hand trembled against the shelf as she tried to steady herself. She wasn't pretending. She was barely standing. Her lips were pale, her breath shallow, and on her wrist hung a stainless steel medical bracelet, gleaming under the harsh fluorescent light. But the manager didn't even glance at it. Asterisk, don't just be a viewer, become part of the change. Subscribe and enable notifications to catch every story that can touch hearts and spark real impact. Lena tried to speak, but her voice cracked like dry leaves. I just need a minute. Her legs wobbled again, and she reached blindly for support. A couple near the checkout paused, exchanging uncomfortable looks, unsure whether to step in or mind their own business. The manager, a broad man with a thick mustache and a corporate name tag that read Henderson, crossed his arms with self-righteous impatience. You've been in that aisle for 20 minutes, Henderson snapped. If you're not buying anything, you need to leave. We don't allow loitering, and we definitely don't allow dramatics. Lena's vision blurred. Heat pricked behind her eyes as humiliation burned through her chest. She squeezed her wrist reflexively, feeling the engraved metal of her bracelet. Type 1 diabetic. Risk of hypoglycemia. She opened her mouth to explain, to beg for understanding, but the words drowned in dizziness. Then her knees buckled. The bottle of juice she'd been holding slipped from her hands and bounced across the tile. Gasps scattered through the store as Lena collapsed. Her medical bracelet clinked loudly against the floor. For a moment, Henderson froze, his anger melting into shock, then guilt. But before he could even reach for her, someone else got there first, a tall woman in scrubs, dark green. Name badge clipped to the collar. Pushed through the circle forming around Lena. Move, she ordered, already kneeling. I'm a nurse. Her calm urgency cut through the tension like a lifesaver thrown into rough water. She gently turned Lena onto her back, checking her pulse, then her face. She's hypoglycemic. Did anyone see what happened? She was just standing there, someone stammered. He was yelling at her. Another added, jerking their head toward the manager. Henderson's face flushed a deep, mortified red. The nurse reached for the fallen juice bottle, but found it empty from the fall. She scanned the aisle. I need sugar. Anything, juice, candy, glucose tablets. A teenage boy with a skateboard dropped his gum and dashed toward the candy section. He returned with a pack of gummies, ripping it open as he slid to his knees. The nurse squeezed the sugary pieces against Lena's cheek and lips. Come on, sweetheart, she whispered. Stay with me. Lena's eyelids fluttered. Her breaths remained shallow, but color slowly returned to her face. Murmurs rippled among the onlookers, shock, sympathy, anger. One of them pulled out their phone and started recording, not out of malice, but out of the disbelief of watching a woman nearly die after being accused of faking it. Henderson hovered awkwardly at the edge of the commotion, sweat forming at his temples. I didn't know, he muttered. She didn't tell me. She didn't have to. The nurse snapped without looking up. She's wearing a medical bracelet. You yelled at her instead of checking. You could have killed her. The words hit him harder than any punch. His eyes landed on the bracelet, small, simple, unmistakably clear. For the first time, he really saw it. Minutes passed before Lena's breathing steadied enough for her to mumble, "Thank you." The nurse helped her sit up, offering the last of the gummies. Easy. Your sugar dropped too fast. Do you have someone you can call? Lena nodded weakly, tears slipping down her cheeks, not from fear this time, but from relief. My sister. She's close. Henderson stepped forward, wringing his hands. Ma'am, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize. I thought that she was pretending. The nurse finished for him, her glare sharp enough to cut. A little compassion could have made all the difference. Lena didn't look at him. She couldn't, not yet. The humiliation still clung to her like damp clothing. Customers whispered angrily behind him, some shaking their heads, others filming his apology. Henderson realized the damage was done, not just to the store's reputation, but to his own sense of who he was. And in that moment, he didn't like the version of himself he saw. The nurse helped Lena to her feet just as her sister rushed in, dropping her purse and pulling her into a tight embrace. "You scared me," she whispered, brushing hair from Lena's face. Lena leaned into her, exhausted but safe. As they walked out together, supported on both sides, Henderson stood motionless, staring at the empty aisle where she had fallen. The juice bottle still lay on its side, slowly leaking a thin orange trail across the tiles. For the first time, he understood that sometimes the loudest pain is silent, the most desperate struggle invisible, and that looking doesn't always mean seeing.